If you're like most Americans, the holiday season between Thanksgiving and New Year's can be one of the most stressful times of your year. Most Americans report being discouraged or depressed during this time of year. I don't know what it is about the holidays that make us maybe miss those that aren't with us, or the ramped up pressure of giving gifts, the right gifts to the right people. Whatever it is, we tend to fall into a trap during this season of being discouraged, being depressed, looking around at our situation, whatever it is, our large situation in our nation, in our country, in our state, or our small situations in our lives, our families, our jobs. And we tend to look around at those and see all the things that are wrong, and we tend to be discouraged. And as a Jesus follower, that is not how we are supposed to live. In fact, we're supposed to live the opposite. We are to be people full of hope who look around at our situations and realize this is all temporary, and my God, my Savior, will rescue me from this. And whatever it is, it can't last. It won't last. And in the end, God will have His way. And so we're supposed to live with hope that that's all going to happen. And we've been looking this week at some practical things we can do to defeat discouragement in our lives. And we're looking at the life of Nehemiah, who was born in captivity, as an adult man, led a group of people back to his homeland of Israel, and found his capital city, the shining jewel of his nation, Jerusalem, just in shambles. It was basically reduced to rubble. And so Nehemiah set about a plan to rebuild what was broken, to rebuild the wall, to rebuild the temple, and to allow people to rebuild their homes. And in this whole process, we can see some very practical ways that we can defeat discouragement in our lives. And one of the things we have to do is recognize that we are in a spiritual battle and fight back. First Peter tells us that there is an enemy. Our enemy, the devil, is just prowling around looking for someone to devour. And then he closes with this thought: resist him. So I believe discouragement is a tool of our enemy trying to devour us. He wants us to be discouraged. He wants us to live without hope. And Peter would say, resist him, fight back, fight the enemy. You cannot fight back passively. Fighting is an active stance. You intentionally do things to fight back. And this is exactly what Nehemiah did. As the people were rebuilding the wall and rebuilding their homes, enemies from all over the place. They were literally surrounded by enemies. They began to attack. They began to sneak in. They began to tear down what was being built. And listen to what Nehemiah told the people who were trying to rebuild what was broken. He said, fight for your brothers, fight for your sons, fight for your daughters, fight for your wives, and fight for your homes. This spiritual battle against discouragement is not just about you. This fight is about the people that are in your life that love you. And you have to fight back. You have to fight that discouragement. And the end result was really cool. Nehemiah tells us that when the enemy saw that we were willing to fight, God frustrated their plans and allowed us to get back to work. Isn't that cool? The people were willing to fight for what was important to them. They were willing to fight against this discouragement. And when their enemy saw that they were willing to fight, well, God frustrated the enemy's plans, and the enemy couldn't prevail. And so the people were able to do what they needed to do. So today, if you struggle with discouragement, if it's something that seems to be a constant companion in your life, just being discouraged, living without hope, fight back, resist it. And I guarantee you, your enemy will see that you're willing to fight, know who you're fighting with, and he will be confused. And you'll be able to do what you need to get done. So let us be people who fight discouragement and fight for our families and fight for what's important and live with the hope and the peace that Jesus promised us. Bye.